What's going on? Happy July 5th, Wednesday. Yesterday was 4th of July. Hope everyone was safe. Everyone had a great time, blah, 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 whatnot. And today's video, so last week I talked a little bit about what it's like picking a good listing agent, right? Today I'm going to talk about a little bit what it's like picking the right agent, whether you're buying, whether you're selling, whatever the case may be, right? So I'm doing this video a little differently. Usually I'm walking around outside talking, glasses on, whatnot. Today I'm like, I feel like I'm in therapist mode, right? Let's sit down and talk about what's going on. Sitting in the chair, whatnot. But I want to talk about, so last week, right, I was on a listing appointment and I was there, I was talking, telling about our team's production, what we do, things like that, my sales, things like that. And, I really don't like to talk about that because I think it's cheesy. Everyone else does it, right? But I knew this guy was like looking at me like, oh, he's too young, blah, blah, blah. Some people look at it as like, oh, he's not experienced, right? And long story short, this guy his neighbor came over, told me to leave, whatnot. I did, I left, called him later. He said he was too tired, blah, 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 whatever, right? But he ended up saying he didn't want me to list his home because I was too young. And usually, that's the first time I ever heard that, right? And I was like, I don't know how to handle that objection, right? And so I was thinking back at it, and it was like, let's make a video out of this. This is gonna be a good video topic, talking about young agents or new people in the business and seasoned agents in the business, right? Or different types of specialty agents. You have agents that are specializing in condos, some specialize in waterfront, and some that are just really young and hungry, right? Whatever the case may be. So that's kind of a little ramble of the introduction or whatnot, but today I want to talk a little bit about what it's like picking the right agent, right? A lot of people just look at an agent and say, wow, he did $400 million in production last year, and we're going to use him because he's good. That's great. That's great. But the question is, how well do you work with that person? Because, our team, we're number one in Palm Beach County, right? Then again, like I said, I don't really like talking about numbers, but there has to be some credibility behind it to make sense, right? So I was looking at it as, right, when you want to connect with someone, you want to connect with them well. So when you're seeing these videos, you're like, hey, I like that kid. I think him and I jive, like we have the same connection, blah, blah, blah. I think I want to work with him, right? So when you look at agents, whether you're up north, you don't live in the state, you don't live in the country maybe, you don't have time to really interview a ton of agents, right? You want to find someone who's there, who's quick, who's on it, who's on the ball. What you want to do is you want to look for communication. You want to look for someone who's really communicative, super attentive to details, and someone who matches well with you, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't match well, they don't communicate, and they're not attentive to details, they're probably not a good fit for you, right? So I also look at it as someone who's hungry too, right? Typically, the newer agent in the business or the younger they are, typically the hungrier they're going to be because they want to build their career, right? So the other day, a buddy called me and he's like, I'm thinking about getting into real estate. I'm young and my age is a problem, right? Like I'm 20, right? My age is a problem and people are looking at me as I'm the grandson. And I'm like, use that towards your advantage, right? Looking at me, you might guess I'm 20, you might not, I don't know. But one, dress for success, and two, right, you want to use your age towards your advantage, typically, right? Like, I didn't have the chance to go on that listing appointment like I did last week and say, hey, I'm 20, but I guarantee you there's no one who's going to be hungrier than I am to sell your house. Because you can have agents who've done $400 million in business, they may be great at it, but they're going to have a whole team that does everything for you. Communication might be great, might be terrible. Who cares? Who knows, right? But I guarantee you there's not going to be someone who will work harder than I will to sell your home, right? So that's like the conversation I had with my buddy. I'm like, use your age towards your advantage. And I also mentioned, I'm like, going on listing appointments or things like that, I'll tell someone, be like, hey, I know I'm competing against this older agent. He's been in the business for 40 years. He may be more seasonal. He may have more what's the word I'm trying to think of? Knowledge and experience in the field. But at the same time, he's also, he may not, doing things that he did back in 40 years ago, sending mailers or sending newspaper ads, park bench ads, things like that. Yeah, that may have worked 40 years ago, but today is new, right? It's all about technology, it's about videos, about social media, about advertising virtually. You know, when you look at someone, you want to see, all right, what's their social media presence? Are they a secret agent? Are they out there? Like if you're listing a large home, for example, Tarpon Island, it was listed at $218 million, just in Palm Beach right here, right? When you're listing something like that, you can be a local agent, and yeah, that's great. But at the same time, you're most likely not going to find that buyer that's local in your market. You're going to look at someone who's overseas. They may be a prince. They may be worth $1 bazillion, whatever the case may be. But you're at the same time, right? You're using technology towards your advantage. Whereas some older agents, who've been in the business long enough, think that newspaper ads work well. It may have worked 40 years ago, but today it's new times, right? So what I'm trying to say here, to sum it all up, is when you're looking for an agent, you want someone who's not only communicative, who's attentive to details, but someone who's hungry enough or has a large enough team to take care of all your needs, right? You want someone to match with you, connect with you, right? Make the same jokes as you, may boat like you, may fish like you, surf like you, whatever the case may be. But it's all opinionated, right? Some people just want to go with the top dog because, hey, he's the top dog. Like, I want to have the bragging rights to where I worked with this guy, right? Whatever the case may be. But what I'm trying to say here, I guess, is looking for the right agent. It depends. I guess it all depends on what you're looking for, right? And at the end of the day, when you're looking for a good agent, it comes down to, like I mentioned before, attentive to details, how communicative they are, and how ambitious they are to sell your home. Some agents that do $400 million in business say, hey, I'll throw it on the MLS, see what happens. If it doesn't sell, great. I have 30 other listings on the market, But overall, let me know what your thoughts are, because I know that sometimes this gets as like a little touchy subject. Some people like it, some people don't, whatever the case may be. But comment down below, call me, and subscribe, like the video, whatever, and touch base soon. Over and out.